welcome back everybody. Now we're going to start reassembling things on the speaker. So first I'm going to start off, I'm going to put the top hats back on. So remember I painted the front two. They were going to be black because you're going to be able to see them. So those are going to go towards the front. So everything should just slide in. I'm going to hand start these. I'm just going to finish hand tightening them down. These are 10 mil. Right, and that's it for the top hats. Obviously the casters slide in there, but won't be putting the casters on. That'll be the last thing that goes on. Alright, so we're going to do the corners now. They go on like the screws. This part here is the part that faces out, so the screws are going on the back and the sides. Now this doesn't really like fit snugly. Snugly, is that a word? Not sure, but so what I'm going to do is just make sure this is, you know, sitting more flush with the front than anything. So I got some black screws here. Just going to go on a little bit of an angle. Alright guys, that's the four corners there. I'm not going to make you watch the other cabinet or the other four corners on the other side. It's pretty straightforward. And I'll see you back when I do the handles. I had a hard time tracking a handle down that was wide enough. I come across a lot of ones that were just always an inch and a half too thin. So I came across this handle. I didn't really want plastic at all, but it does have the aluminum handle, which will be drilled right through the box, so I'm okay with that. So it does fit. Lengthwise good. It's just maybe a quarter inch too small, but it should still be good. So what I want to do right now is I want to attach a speaker gasket to this to get a good seal. Alright, so here's that. It's going to make a good seal when it gets screwed on. Just going to make sure I put it in the right way. Now I also should have, probably before I painted and everything, I probably should have put this down and drilled the holes, but it's only 4 holes, so we'll get the vacuum out when I make the holes. So I do want to, I'm a little anal. So I'm going to want this thing obviously square. And then I'm going to move this over as far as it goes. As far as it goes this way. And then go that way all the way, and then just kind of split the difference. And that's where it's going to go. So these screws here, I'm using a little bit thicker screws than the corners. So I also want to screw this in place before I drill. So when I drill the holes, it'll be exactly. Alright, so I picked the speaker up off the ground, put it up here, and there's a reason for that. So I'm going to slide the aluminum handle in. I made the holes a little tight, so these things here they're going to have to be tapped in. And again, these I could not find black. Well, I did find black bolts, but they weren't long enough, and I don't know. With everything with the Rona, it was very hard to try and find. So, got these bolts here. I'm just gonna magic marker these black later. But these are the washers I'm using, and these are the nuts. It's a 3/8. So the reason why there's 2 angles here is obviously these first 2 here. They go in pretty easy. It's the back 2 that are going to be kind of tricky. Alright, so I finally got it on. So now I'm just going to tighten them down. And there we go. That's the handling. So I'm not going to make you watch the other ones. They should all go in the same way. And see you in the next clip. Alright, so we're back and all the corners are on, the handles are on, the top hats are on. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Velcro on. I did that when I did the grills. I got the white for the grill, and then I'm going to put the black on here. This is a peel and stick. I guess I can put a staple in it, but I think I'm just going to... It's pretty sticky, so I'll just leave it if it pops off. There you go, and that's how it's going to look. Next step we'll be doing is insulation. Alright, so this is the speaker batten or speaker insulation, but it's a very large piece I ordered. Obviously it's not cut. So instead of me making a video measuring, cutting, it's going to be long. So I'll just measure and I'll put the pieces aside, and then I'll turn the camera back on when I'm ready to staple it up. And I'm just going to cut everything to fit the sides, the top, bottom, and the back here. Alright, so I cut all the insulation up. I'm just going to start tacking it in. I'm using 1/4 inch staples. So I'm just going to pull the pieces off, and they're going to go in a specific order. Okay, it pretty much takes care of the inside. I'm not sure right now if I'm going to put loose stuff in here. We'll wait. But right now I'm going to do the back in here. The back piece. So what I did here, because there's this lip we screw to, it's 3/4 inches wide. I just went around the board 3/4 of an inch so I know not to put insulation there. And I cut a piece, hopefully big enough. Alright, and that's going to do it until the crossover comes in. Then we're going to be doing the tweeter and the woofer next. Alright, so I'm just going to install the woofer now. So I made sure I look at some old pictures to make sure I lined everything up the same way. Before I put the tweeter in, I gotta put the speaker gasket. So I'm not 100% sure if you're supposed to be putting it on the cabinet or on the tweeter. I feel like I did the best I could scraping the old stuff off. It's still not perfect, so I'm just gonna, instead of trying to figure out where exactly, I'm just gonna follow these lines here. I'm just gonna stick it to this one here, to the tweeter. And then this way I know when I put it in and screw it down, it'll be good. Okay, so that's on, so I'm going to turn the box around and then we'll screw it down. Alright, so I'm going to try and slide this in now. I know it was tricky to come out, so I know it's going to be tricky going in. You know what, we're going to pause. I have another idea. So what I decided to do is just lay it on its back. This way this thing, the gravity, does the work for me. So I would just have to line it up, and hopefully I did. Alright, tweeters are in, woofers in. Alright, so I'm going to put the badges on now. I'm not happy with the way they came out, to be honest with you. I'm going to put them on for now, but most likely this is going to get switched in the future. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to put them on, and then I'll think of something in the future. Right now I'm not happy with these, but It is what it is. Doesn't look terrible. Whoops, my arm in the way. But it's not the look I wanted. Hey, welcome back everyone. So I got my crossovers back, so we're going to be installing those today. But before I install the crossovers, I want to take the speaker gasket and run it along where the back panel goes. I want to do that first because the crossover gets attached to this and I don't want to be fighting around wires. So I just want to do this quickly, and then when I put the crossover and seat it, it's done type of thing. So I should have more than enough to do the job. Alright, I'm going to set up the glue gun and everything I'm going to need, and I'll see you back in the next segment. Alright, so this is the crossover, everyone. So I'm going to try to explain this as best I can, even though this is not, again, I'm not really versed in all this. So I don't know if you can see everything or not, but these two right here, these are the capacitors. And these are, if you remember the picture of the old one, they were green. So when he tested, there was 2 per cabinet, and when he tested the 4 of them, he said one of them was reading high. I'm not sure what that means. So I just, you know what, I said we're not going to mess around. I said, so let's replace all the capacitors. So that's what we did. Now this part here, this was the long white piece. It was called a resistor. And while it was working fine, he said, he goes, out of the whole crossover, he goes, that was the only item that was not very good, he said. He goes, it's a very good crossover. So I said, we're going to change that as well. So we changed the capacitor resistors. These coils are the same. And then this little guy here, can't remember what he called it, but it's just going to help out with the details in the music. Like when you hear lips moving or sliding of the fingers on the guitar strings. It's just going to kind of enhance that. And also what I learned was he did build this, and he had it for 2 days. And he ran like white noise through it for over 16 hours. And what that does is, he goes, you got to charge the capacitors or burn them in, it's calling. So he goes, if I would have built this and he would have gave it to me and I would have hooked it up, he goes, it would have sounded like crap until after how many hours of playing until they get charged up. So he did that for me, which was awesome. So when I plug these in and play them, I'm hoping they're going to sound phenomenal. So that's what's going on here. So yeah, he kept the bridge here, and he kept the coils. And just so you know, like, when I was pointing out the coils are for the woofer, only one of these is for the woofer. The other one is for the tweeter. So he's called this a secondary there's a secondary part to this crossover, which is really good. So I'm really happy. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the terminal cup where it needs to go, because this bridge got a little wider, and I'm going to have to glue things down as well as screw them down. But I want to get this in place first, because this is where this has to go. So I don't want to use the speaker gasket on this thing. So I got this like little foam tape. I'm not even sure what it's going to do, but I'm just going to cut some strips. Okay, so I'm just going to screw that back down, and I'm going to cut off the excess. So the screws that were for this were these ones here. And then get my screwdrivers out. Definitely the longer ones. I'm gonna make sure this is He also cleaned all the connectors. He cleaned this thing up as well, so. Alright, so now I'm going to fire up the glue gun and wait for it to get warm, and then I'll turn the cameras back on. Alright, so we're just going to glue it down, put some glue on the back sides before I screw down. So as for these ones here, these are the little screws here, but I'm going to put bigger screws back in there. So alright, that's going to take care of that, and I'm going to get my stuff out to attach this insulation to the bottom. Alright, so before I staple this down, I got to poke holes in here to pull the wires through. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Alright, so we just gotta put staples in this now, and I think that's how I'm gonna leave that. So now I just gotta hook the wires up. So should be straightforward, right? White goes to white, and blue goes to blue. And that's for these ones. I gotta splice them and tape them. I don't have shrink wrap or heat wrap, which would probably be the best thing. So I'm just gonna get my wire cutters and splice them and twist them together and tape them. I just had to switch my wire cutters. And now we can put the back on with the new screws. Okay, so before I do this, there's something else I want to do, and I will see you in a second. Okay, so the last step I'm going to do is, well, these wires look okay like this, but as soon as you raise the back panel up, like, the wires drop. So what I want to do is take these little wires. There's like a stiff wire. I'm going to staple it to the back. I'm going to kind of loop it and then loop the wire around it, and so just so it holds the wire up while it's in the cabinet. So that's all I'm going to do. So I just got to see where I want these things. So it's just going to hold the wire up there. That's all. Alright, so I put it on its side right now, so the last step is going to be pushing the casters in. And that's going to be it for this cabinet. So I'm going to do the other speaker, and then I'm going to turn the cameras back on when they're both done, and that'll be the last clip. Alright guys, so they're both done now, and this is what they look like back and front. And just wanted to thank you for joining me on this 5-part series. There is going to be another video of a demo, but that's just going to be the music, not going to be me talking, because I don't want to get copyright strikes or whatever it is. Anyway, so that's it, and I'll see you in the next clip. Take care and be safe.